Hello, friends. Welcome to another podcast. My name is Dr. Jason Wiggins, and I am your Gen Z and Millennial expert. Today's date is March 1st, 2021, and this is episode number, I believe, 111. So happy Monday. I hope everybody is having a terrific day. As I mentioned, today is March 1st, so we are now 2 months into 2021, meaning I hope everybody is still on target for your New Year's resolutions, but sometimes we need that extra push, we need that extra little bit of motivation, and John C. Maxwell, as most of you know, had a great quote, which was, you don't overcome challenges by making them smaller, but by making yourself bigger. Therefore, when it comes to getting results, it takes ability and it takes motivation. And today, we are going to talk about particularly the ways to motivate yourself. And there are some key elements that we are going to talk about. Remember, motivation makes things happen. When there's no will, there is no way. One of the best ways to improve our personal effectiveness is to master the motivation that we have and ultimately find our drive. If we can master motivation, we can deal with all of life's setbacks, as well inspire ourselves to always find a way to move forward and then create new experiences for ourselves while following our overall growth pattern. So today we're going to talk about motivation, and then we're going to provide you some motivation tools that I believe really do work. And the number one tool I believe is very important as part of your motivation and the ability to get things done is by connecting our values. People think, what does that mean? It's a secret? No, it's not a secret. If you can connect the work you do to your values, even in a particularly small way, you can change how you view everything. You can change the game. For example, one of my values is learning and growth. I try to find ways to grow my skills for any situation. For example, I don't just call back a customer, I win a raving fan. I don't ask just to do a task, I master my craft. I don't just get something done, I learn something new. Why? Because learning and growing are a part of everything I do every single day. Another important aspect that I'd like to talk about, as most of you may know, or many of you may know, Simon Sinek's why. What is the why? It's the reason why you do things. So you want to figure out a compelling purpose and then turn this into, for example, a one-liner. So, for example, when I fall off the horse, I remind myself I'm here to make others great. Why? I'm here to make others great. And that is an important part of the reason, the Simon Sinek's why. And the other thing is, anytime we do something, why do we do it? What's the importance of what drives us? That's another important aspect. And sometimes you may get bored of your why, or your why may not be working for you. So what do? You change the why. Sometimes you're doing things for the wrong reason. Are you doing that task to get it done? Or are you doing it to learn something new? Sometimes just shifting that why and determining how is that why going to work for me will be the motivation that will get you back on track instead of going on the same status quo of when you found your why initially. Sometimes you need to change why you do things, how you view it, and how you can move on to enjoy what you're doing. Because Gen Z and millennials, we try to find reason behind why we do things, especially at work. It's about making a difference. It could be environmental, global, domestic, whatever it may be. It may have something to do with why you're doing what you do. Another important aspect is changing your how. You can instantly find your task more enjoyable by shifting from getting them done to doing them right. Sometimes we try to do things so fast that we lose the reason why we're doing it, and we forget that we need to look at something and take our values and do the best job we can. By doing the best job we can, we take pride in our work. Sometimes slower is better. Oftentimes, other times, the key is to make it a game and actually speed it up. So you can change the way you do things. You can slow it down, you can speed it up, and then you can determine how is it going to best reflect my current interest. Another element of motivation is remember that feeling, remember that excitement, remember why you first started doing something. Think about something early on that you were motivated, you had high intensity, you had a reason to thrive, you had the reason to really be motivated. What were those feelings? How did you get there? Why did you get there? So think about all the reasons why at one time you had passion, you had that motivation. So you want to find that feeling again. How did that feel when you did it the first time? You know, those are the things you want. You want to feel good. You want to know why you're doing something. And when you do it well and you do it with passion and you see results, that feeling that you get, you want to embrace that feeling. You want to bottle it up. So every time you get that feeling, you go crazy. You move your hands. You get excited. You bottle up that feeling so you have that at a later time. Sometimes you have to shift to the past, present, or future. That kind of goes with the good feelings. Think about this. Sometimes you need to be here now, but sometimes you need to be right here. But right now may suck. So the beauty of shifting past tense, present tense, or future tense is you can visualize a more compelling future or remember a more enjoyable past. So at the same time, if you catch yourself dwelling on something that didn't make you happy, that might have been painful, get back to either the right now, right here, and then find that joy in the moment. Not every task, not every learning objective is going to be enjoyable, is going to be excitable, is going to make you feel great. That's why in your job or in the task you do or in the things you're moving forward, those are the things you have to relish the moment. You have to find a way to get excited because some tasks just have to get done. They may not be exciting to you, but they have to be done. It's part of the business, and there's a reason why they have to be done. So you need to find joy in it. So challenge yourself. If it's something you can do fast, see how fast you can do it to get it done. But as long as it's methodical, it's good work, because you don't want to just rush through things. But sometimes you slow the pace down, you take a lot of pride in your work, and you really remember what you knew right when you first started doing something. Because remember, when you first started doing something, you may have been slow at doing it, you may have been methodical, thinking through it, maybe even overthinking through it. And that's when you go, wow, think of how you did it then versus how you do it now, maybe 5, 10, 15 years from the first time you did it. It's a different feeling, but you still have to find that energy, that passion to get excited. Another one is find a meaningful metaphor. Think about the little engine that could. That's just a metaphor, but the most powerful thing you can do is find a metaphor that connects to your values. That is why I personally like to turn my projects into epic adventures, or be able to find a task and feel like, how can I turn this task into making money? And that's every business sense that I try to take on, or any project I try to take on. How is this project going to better the organization? And another aspect is probably my favorite aspect. And just to review the aspects we've had so far, number one was connect to your values. Number two was find your why. 3 was change your why. 4 was change your how. 5 was remember the feeling. 6 was shift to the present, future, or past. 7 was find a meaningful metaphor. And my favorite, drum roll please, take action. Here's a secret that once you know it can change your life. Action often comes from motivation. So again, action often comes from motivation. You'll simply start doing an activity, and then your motivation just kicks in. For example, when you're exercising, you may not want to do it at the beginning, but the second you start doing it, that adrenaline kicks in, the satisfaction kicks in, and then you start feeling good about the action that you did. And don't sit on the fence when you're doing something. Jump in and do it. Sometimes the best direction is not the methodical plan, not how you determine what are all the objectives. Just jump in, dive in first, and work through it. Sometimes that's the best way to start a game plan where you don't know exactly where it is. Jump into action and make it happen. We talked earlier about good feelings. So another aspect is link your motivation to good feelings. Find a way to link things that are important to you and how they make you feel. Maybe sometimes turn on your favorite song that gets you pumped up and energized. It makes you feel good. If you feel good, you work good. And when you work good, guess what happens? You get things done. Then your boss is happy. You see all of the momentum you've had and the impact you're making on your organization. It's a win-win for everybody. Now, another one is don't worry about impressing others first. Impress yourself first. This is how people get things done. They inspire themselves. They write books. They do tasks to impress themselves first. They connect their overall passion to the work, and then they don't depend on others to set the mood, to set the strategy. That they have this internal motivation that really drives them. And so they're looking to impress themselves first. So if you're writing a book, like I said, I wrote a book. I wasn't doing it for anybody. I did it for myself. Why? Because I wanted to challenge myself. It had always been a goal of mine to write a book. So guess what? I just jumped in and I did it. It's not to impress anybody. It was to impress myself, if anything. Another important aspect is you choose to. What this means is if you tell yourself that you have to do this, or you must do this, or you should do this, what does that do? It weakens your motivation. Why? Because it feels like you're being pushed to do something. And when you're being pushed to do something, what's the first thing happens? You put a barrier. You put a barrier in front of yourself because nobody likes to be told what to do. We do things because it feels good and we want to see results and you enjoy what you're doing. But when somebody's telling you how to do it or somebody's pushing you, it takes the fun out of it. And another one is change your question. Sometimes you need to change your focus, and to change your focus, you have to change your question. So if you ask yourself, what's wrong with this situation? Of course, you'll find things to complain about. We all do. But ask yourself, what's right about this situation, and how can you quickly find the positives and get your funk on? Meaning, have fun, run with it, and always find time for eating, working out, and sleeping. I can't tell you how many times I'll be at work and I will blow through lunch and I don't even think twice about it because I get so busy on a project or an activity and I just simply forget because I'm in the moment. But it's important to remember that your body or your emotions are working against you because you're not giving them a break or fueling them in the proper way. So, one simple way to improve results is to find a routine for eating, sleeping, and working out that supports you. Working out can be the hardest thing to do sometimes because you get up early and you're thinking, what can I do? I want to get up early, I want to go straight to work, and I want to start hammering out the day. That's me personally. But then I have to shake myself a little bit and go, you know what? If you're not high energy, you're not fueled up, you're not feeling good with working out, you're going to not get as much done in a day. Why? Because you don't have the proper sleep, you don't have the proper exercise, and you don't have the proper food. And that's why it's so important to make sure you have the threes. The threes are good energy from working out, good food, and last but not least is sleeping, eating, sleeping, and moving and working out are important. And one of my other favorites besides action is play to your strengths. I've talked so many times, we all have weaknesses, we all have strength. Sometimes we're amazing at certain things, we're amazing at talking to people, delegating, structure, whatever it may be. But it's important to play on your strengths. I had a supervisor at one of my last positions, and he was great at talking to the customers. All the customers loved him. He was great at talking with his team. But the one thing he wasn't really great at was doing the paperwork, the computer, all this stuff. So what happened? I took a lot of that on myself, and I let him speak with the customers and work with the frontline staff because he was so good at it. Why I took care of a lot of the back end stuff while supporting him on the other things. But a new manager came over and took over for me as I moved on to another opportunity. And he tried to get this individual to do all the back end computer work. And it was just a disaster. Why? Because he wasn't playing to his strengths. So strengths are the place where you grow your best. Find the things that you can do all day that you really enjoy and find excuses throughout your day to do more of that. People want to do what they enjoy, and that is a key part of what we do. At the end of the day, all motivation really comes down to is self-motivation. And you get better at motivation by building your self-awareness. So learn how to push your own buttons from the inside out because don't expect anybody else to motivate you, to give you all the kudos you need, to give you the feel-goods. Yes, it's great to have a mentor or a boss that does that for you, but not everybody does. So you need to find an important way to motivate yourself. And these elements that I talked about are just another tool in the tool chest that will give you the motivation to succeed and move on. So if you haven't had a chance to keep on the line with your New Year's resolution, I hope these motivational tools get you back on track. And if you're still doing it, great. Keep up the good work. But don't remember, don't rely on others to motivate you to be successful. So again, as always, I appreciate your listenership. It means so much. And the best way to get in touch with us is via the website, genz@millennialexpert.com, or via email, jason@jwigginsconsulting.com. And as always, if it's in the morning, afternoon, or night, be safe, take care, and I can't wait to talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.